Hello, 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 everybody. It's been a long time coming. Here we are tonight. Our virtual book club is back and back with a punch. We have our return feature for second time return featured author. If that even makes sense, I don't know. We've got Donna Armer here, and I am going to turn the reins of our meeting over to our group expert, Francine Katzen. And I hope that everyone loved or will read the Red Starfish by Donna Armer, the first in her installment of 3 books, right? In the mystery series for now. Anyway, I'm so excited. I'll be behind the scenes. I'm going to turn it over to the two of you and welcome back Donna and Francine. Thank you.
Thank you, Susie. Thank you. Hello, Donna. Welcome tonight. I'm so excited to talk to you about your book. But first of all, I want to read your bio, if you will allow me to do that. Donna Armer resides in the beautiful low country of Beaufort, South Carolina, with her husband of 41 years. Ray sees to it that she is fed and clothed, as she sometimes forgets the necessities when she's writing. While she volunteers at numerous organizations, she is often found at the Pat Conroy Literary Center, where she will welcome you to Beaufort and give you the grand tour. Her writing inspiration comes from her world travels, her personal experiences, and from living in the Low Country. She has written numerous magazine articles on travel and food and is the author of Solo in Salento, a memoir. Her essays appear in the following anthologies: London, Smokes, Blocks, and Jokes of Foggy Town, Paris; Love, Loss, and Longing in the City of Lights, in Rome; Centuries of Stories in the Eternal City; and in October of 2023, her first novel, In the Cabina.
Gabbiano.
I practiced that all day and then I still got it wrong. I apologize.
That's okay.
Gabbiano mystery series debuted. The Red Starfish takes the reader on an Italian adventure with plenty of roadblocks. Book number 2 in this series will be released on June 15th, 2024, and gives you a glimpse of divine decadence called the South Carolina Low Country. Oh, wow. We're in for a treat. First of all, I want to say, I don't want to give any spoilers away for this book because we may have some people that have not read this book but are just listening to hear about it. And we want to tell them just enough so that they'll either order the book tonight or run out tomorrow and buy it. How's that sound?
Sounds terrific.
I love this book, and I read it probably within a few days after you sent it to me. So let's just get right into, where did you come up with the idea? How long have you been working on this idea? And tell me how it started.
It actually started in 2010, which was my very first trip to Puglia. And for those that don't know about Puglia, it's in the heel of the Italian boot. And it's sort of an off the beaten track place. And the villa I stayed in overlooked the marina. And every night when I would set out to have a glass of wine, there would be all sorts of interesting, strange kinds of things going on at the marina, like lights flashing, cars turning off their light, little clusters of people. And it just struck me, what a great idea for a mystery in this place. And I wonder what will happen. So from that, I went 2 years later and spent a month by myself, not in that same spot, but in Otranto, Italy. And that's where the idea for my first book, Solo in Salento, came from. And that book has now been translated into Italian as Una Americana in Salento. The thing with everything else that I'm writing, while I was writing Solo in Salento, I was starting to work on the first book in the mystery series, The Red Starfish. And if you read Solo in Salento, you will find the red starfish there. and you will find the second book's theme there and also the third book's theme there. They're all originate out of Solo and Salento. So as I was finishing Solo and Salento, I just started writing, and the characters from that one scene of that marina, the characters just sort of came to life. And I wanted to write about strong women, but strong women that are like I am. I'm not going to say stereotypical like all women, but that we have little quirks, and we sometimes make really nice and great decisions, and other times we make really bad decisions, and sometimes our emotions get in the way. So I made the main character, Cat Gabbiano, just that mixture of how I like to think of women as strong with flaws.
I think strong with flaws is perfectly said. And we do all make mistakes, but we hopefully grow from them and learn and
Yes.
do things differently as we go forward.
Yes.
Hopefully.
And I hope you'll see that in each book with Kat, that she grows and she learns she learns some things from some of her mistakes. But her full name, which is important, I think naming characters is really important, is Caterina Maria Lucia Gabbiano. And all her friends call her Kat.
I love the name Caterina.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yes. And that was a street name in Otranto. I was just walking around, and the street name was my name, Donna Cathina. And Donna in Italian by itself means woman, but in front of a surname, it means lady. And so when I was in that little part of Italy, they didn't speak English. And so when I introduced myself as Donna Armer, they called me Lady Armer.
Okay. Well, I think you're a perfectly wonderful lady, so I would take that as a compliment.
Yeah.
That'll be great to learn book 2 and things like that. So when you were writing this story, did you write it start to finish? Do you plan it out? Do you have an outline?
No, I don't do any of those things that when you read books or attend classes they tell you to do.
Well,
I'm just the stories are just there. I write whenever I feel like writing. I'm not disciplined in any way. I don't do outlines. I do a lot of research before I start. About places is so important to me. In all of my books, you will find place as a character. So I want to make sure that I know the place, the culture, the food, the wine, the attractions, the life that goes on within that place. So, and then the Red Starfish, of course, has the mafia in it, and I needed to know a lot more about the mafia than I knew. And the thing I love the most is I'm in a writing group, and I've been in the same writing group since 2016. And they're just wonderful women. And so I wrote almost a whole chapter on the mafia and how you are inducted into it, how you go from stage to stage, and what gets you from stage to. And I was reading that at the end, they all looked at me and said, "Okay, that was really interesting. Would you please take most of that out?"
Uh-oh. And so did you?
Yeah, I did. I said I had to wrap my head around it. I had to understand it myself before I could write about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to understand the connections. And the mafia is very different in modern times than it was World War II and up to now. It's white collar corruption. It's Chinese mafia. It's Russian mafia. It's Albanian mafia. And they're all here in the United States, which I think a lot of people are not aware of. But so yes, I do a lot of research. I want to understand what the backdrop is for anything that I write.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because as a reader, I felt transported there because of your descriptions. Did you go back and make another trip to do your research before you wrote this book this
I
time?
didn't.
You
I
didn't?
didn't. I did not go back until I was invited by the mayor of Otranto after the book came out, invited me to come back and speak.
Oh my goodness, really? So,
Yes. Yes.
well, you have a really great memory, and you wrote it beautifully because I thought I was there. And as a reader, you want to be transported. You want to feel like you're right there with the characters on the street, in
Mhm.
the house, wherever they are.
Okay. I'm gonna correct that because as I told you earlier, it's really hard for me to go back and forth between all the writing that I'm doing.
Mhm.
And I did go back because I went back because I was invited to do the book presentation for Solo and Salento. So I went back for the very first time in 2022. And the red starfish was I had already finished the first draft of it though. But I
Okay.
was able, from taking the trip back, just to make any modifications that I felt I hadn't captured exactly.
Okay. I was thinking that your other book came out in 2021 or 20.
2020, it came out right in the worst part of COVID.
Okay, that's what I thought because I connected with you on social media or something, and you
Yeah.
sent me the book, and I read it, and then I met you at Susie's Literary
Yes,
Getaway in
yes,
March of 2020, which was such a fabulous event. And plug, I hope she does it again next year.
yes. I know. I'm so excited to think
Hint,
she
hint,
might.
Susie. I know, really. Please, let's get a date on the calendar. You know, so um, d- are y- do you have a favorite character in this book? I mean, probably Kat, would you say? Or
I love Gino and Maria.
oh,
Uh,
okay,
they're not they're supporting characters, but I like them. I think they're good, solid people.
they're good
And
souls.
yeah, and I have to tell you, in the first draft of the Red Starfish, Stella had one chapter. And yes, and she came to me one night. She woke me up and she said, "Look, I'm a Hollywood star. I'm an actress. You have to extend how long I'm in this book. I want a major role." So I started and I put her in, and then I found that poem that had just the right number of stanzas to go with each chapter that Stella was in. And it just fit together for me beautifully. And she was right. I listened to my characters all the time.
Well, as a reader, I think that was a wise decision to listen to her because it made the book way better having her in longer than
Mhm.
one chapter. One chapter, we wouldn't even have gotten to know her.
I
And
know.
we were able to empathize with her, sympathize with her, care
Mhm.
about her, and
Mhm.
know her whole life history and feel bad for her.
Yeah.
Or I did. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. And that's, to me, as a reader myself, that's important, that even the worst character has some redeeming features, whether it's Ricardo or any of the others who came through there, that maybe their intentions weren't quite honorable, but
yeah.
that there are reasons, for the most part, why people act out in certain ways.
I'm glad you brought that up because I don't think everybody one character is not all bad or one character is not all good. As you said, everybody has flaws. Some
Mm-hmm.
people can be more forgiving than others. Um, I felt bad for Stella. I mean,
Yeah.
I always feel bad for people that have hardships, and some people don't have an easy life. Some people
Mm-hmm.
have harder times than others. I mean, and let's face it, we all go through difficult times. We all
Yeah.
have our ups and downs at any given point. I always call them my peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I call them. I don't know what everybody else calls them. Now, did did you pick out this cover? Because I think this is a beautiful cover. I want to put this up here so everybody can see it.
Wait a minute, pull it back. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, that's good.
that's really good. Actually, it's a photograph I took of the Zinzalusa Caves.
Oh, wow.
And my publisher, I love my publisher, Stephanie Larkin, and she came up with the idea of the starfish, putting that big red starfish right in the middle there. And I hope you see the continuation with the next cover.
Oh,
The draping effect.
uh-huh.
It's gonna continue because we are already thinking about that in advance, and how we both loved how that was actually the outline of the caves. I was inside looking out when I took the photograph,
Mm-hmm.
so that deep burgundy color is actually the jagged edges of the cave, inside the cave.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So yeah, it's my publisher, she just lets me fill her head with all sorts of ideas that I have, and then she runs with them, and she gives me exactly what I want in the covers. I'm
Well,
so happy.
that is just a beautiful, stunning cover. I mean, I know I say this a lot, but this would be a book that I would pick up if I went into a bookstore
Oh, thank you.
just from the cover,
Yeah, thank
because
you.
that's how it jumps out at you. Don't you just love it?
I do. I do.
I mean, I love my book because it's also science, and that's also very important.
And
Uh,
I'll do that for anyone that wants a copy. I'll be happy to, um, if they contact me, I can send them a personalized copy. I love doing that more than anything. It's such a gift when someone wants to read a book I've written, that I really enjoy.
You feel like that's an honor. I feel like it's an honor to receive a book and get to read it like that.
Well,
So
thank you.
that's a real treat. Did you have any idea when you started this particular book how it was going to end? Did you know the ending before you finished it?
This is something else weird I do. I write my endings first.
You do?
Yes. Yes, I do. So in the Red Starfish, I wrote the ending, and then I went back and started the book. Then, about halfway through the book, Lorenzo had a conversation with me about the ending that he did not like. So I reworked the ending. Now, in the next book, which we'll talk about just in the last few minutes, I wrote the ending and I never changed a word of it.
Oh, wow.
So I have no idea why that happens. None whatsoever.
Well, everybody does things differently. I mean, some people sit down and do an outline. Some people start from start to finish. Other people write the middle and then work both ways. So it's whatever.
Yes.
So have you, did you always know that you wanted to be a writer? What was your prior career?
Well, at 7, I wrote my autobiography. I was in 2nd grade. I had 7 years of history that I wrote about.
7 years of experiences. Huh?
Yeah. And I remember even as a little kid, and my mother had given me a diary, and I wrote in it faithfully every day. So I've always journaled and written. And when I was in high school, I wrote poetry, and I was published in the school magazines. And then life happened, and I only picked up a pen to write letters, to write technical manuals. I had a long career in corporate America. My husband and I had our own business. And it was only when I retired that I said, I finally have time. But I wasn't sure. I never even thought about ever writing a nonfiction or fiction. And what I did was I said, I had I was an amateur photographer, so I thought I'd really like to do some magazine articles with my photography and with a good essay about food or travel or something. And so that was the first thing I did after I retired. I wrote an article on Italy, on a wedding. We were invited to an Italian wedding, and it was just a magnificent experience. So I wrote an essay about it, and I had pictures of the bride. I mean, she was gorgeous in this gorgeous gown, and the food, and and I just submitted it to a local magazine, and they accepted it. And then they called me and asked me would I like to freelance for them. And so that's what I did. I did that until we moved to Beaufort, and I actually did a couple more articles after we moved here. But I said to Ray, I really want to write a book, and I want to write about that time that I spent alone in Italy, because it was really significant to me as a woman to do that, to travel alone to a place where I knew no one, I didn't speak the language, and to be there by myself and to get my head cleared out and to figure out, how I was going to deal with my life. And so that's when we moved to Beaufort. I joined the writing group. Again, as I told you, I love my writing group. So I was invited, because it's a two-way street. They have to accept you, you have to accept them. And I was told I had to write an essay, and I'd have to read it and they would critique it. I mean, I was so excited. I mean, so anxious that I thought I was going to be sick. But I go and I read it without my voice trembling, and they critique it. And they said, what are you going to do? And I said, what do you mean, what am I going to do? And they said, what are you going to do with that essay? And I said, well, you told me I had to write something and show up and read it. So I did. And they said, well, that's definitely a book. And it's chapter 45 in my first book, The Last Supper. And that's how that book started. So it's just been an amazing experience to live your life fully, richly, with ups and downs, as you said, peaks and valleys, and then arrive at this point and to know that you still are vibrant. There's still so much to do and so much to give and so much to participate in. And I get such joy out of writing. I can be lost in it for hours and hours without thinking of anything else.
Oh, what a gift you have. Before we go any further, Estelle Williamson just asked the question. She wanted to make sure that she understood that you did, in fact, take this picture that was on the front of this book. Did she understand? She
Yes.
wanted to,
Yes.
Okay. Because she said that's kind of unheard of, and especially for them to use it. Okay.
Yes. She has, this is a unique publisher, and I've never had this experience before because it's a different publisher than my first book. And I wanted to work with someone that would listen, that would hear my voice, see my visions. And my publisher has done that. It's just quite remarkable. We started with that design before we got there. We actually had a illustrator, an artist who was drawing, trying to recreate the cave and some characters to put on the cover, and it wasn't working for me. And so I just said to Stephanie, let me send you some photographs. And if you've got a graphic designer, then I think that might work better with what I'm thinking of. And when I sent her the photograph, she says, you're right. This is great. This is perfect. I know what we can do with it. I know how it will work. And she just took it and ran with it. So
perfect choice. Yeah. So one of our other fellow authors, Nancy Ritter, would like
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Nancy. She wants to know, what are 2 or 3 things that you've learned about yourself as a writer from the time you wrote your first book until now?
I think the most important thing is I learned to give myself a break. Letting go of the first book was like a nightmare experience for me. I have perfectionist tendencies, so I wanted it to be perfect, and of course, it's not perfect. And it's my first attempt at writing. Even the Red Starfish is I've improved my writing, but I'm going to continue to improve it with every single book because I do learn about my strengths and weaknesses and where I need help and where I can go it alone and where I can let my characters take me and listening to them. Um, I was more uptight about listening to them in my first book. And this book, I just said, okay, have your way. I'll try to take notes.
Tell me what you want, and I'll just listen, right? Well,
I'll listen.
I think you did a wonderful job. I mean, look, you kept Stella in there, Ricardo. I mean, I think you did fantastic. So I think just keep listening. So anything else that you can share that you learned with from the first book now about yourself? I mean, do you feel
I don't feel oh, I love writing fiction so much more than nonfiction. I have to say that. I felt so vulnerable with that first book, putting myself out there. It was really a hard thing to do. And I went to a writing class at the University of South Carolina in Columbia, and this is many years ago. And Jeanette Turner Hospital was the professor, and she said to all of us, if you can, write fiction, because you can tell the truth in fiction that you cannot in nonfiction, because you'll get sued if you tell it in nonfiction. So I felt that relief when I started writing fiction, because anything goes. You can make up anything you want.
and still, yeah, I think I agree with that, because a lot of times when you read some fiction, you think, how much is this is in their life, or is this about them, or is this about their friends or anybody they know? Think about
And it is, I think, for most writers, it is that it's based on all of those things, because the first rule of thumb is to write what you know. And the places of my heart are the places I know, and those are Italy and the Low Country. So I'm going to write about those because I know them. I know a lot of other places, and they may come in later, but these are the things that I really are in my heart and that I want to share with my readers.
Okay, so speaking of the Low Country and your next book, what are you working on for your next book? Tell us everything. When is it coming out?
I am so excited. It's going to be released June the 15th, 2024. So it's coming up very soon, just about 6 weeks, I guess. Yeah. And it's called Moringa, Tree of Life. And in this book, Kat Gabbiano will be back in the Low Country. She is a caterer by profession. And as you well know, all of my books have lots of food in them. And
oh, isn't that, I love the green. It's beautiful.
Thank you. And you can see the same shape as
Yeah.
in the Red Starfish. Now, what I did with this is I sent, again, a lot of photographs to Stephanie of trees in Italy, trees in the Low Country. I sent her pictures of homes around here. And if you can look carefully on there's a little branch just below Kat Gabbiano, sort of a big branch, but it's got the resurrection fern on it. And I was just thrilled. I mean, she just has such detail. And there's Spanish moss hanging down from the branches of the tree. So she just nailed it again. And the color is just brilliant.
It's absolutely gorgeous. Green is my second favorite color.
Is it?
Oh yeah, especially the dark green like that. I love
Yes.
green,
Yeah.
but that's gorgeous. And that house, I mean, that is perfectly done.
Thank you. Thank you. And I thank Stephanie because, like I said, she pulls all the stops out, and she just it takes my breath away because what she says is okay, and she always sends me a lot more than one to look at, but she sends me the first one she always sends me. I like, that's it. I don't have to look any further. That's it.
You don't even have to think. Cheryl Rappaport said, "Beautiful cover."
Hey, Cheryl. Thank you for being here. Cheryl's one of my dazzling dozen ladies that's going to Italy with me in the fall.
Oh, y'all gonna have so much fun. You better post a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
Janice Flip said, "I am looking forward to seeing your new release."
Hey, Janice. Great to see you. Hear you. See, I can't see you. I can't hear you, but thank you for being here.
Yeah, you better post a lot of pictures of that trip because I'm going to have some serious FOMO. All right, Susie, are you going to have FOMO too?
Yes, I'm going to have FOMO for all kinds of reasons.
Yeah.
Hi, Donna and Francine.
Hi,
Hello
Susie.
again.
What an incredible conversation we've been having tonight. I hope my little blurbs, I just wanted you to see the interaction of what's going on. We have a great audience, and I wanted you to, if you're okay to go another 5 minutes or so, so you don't feel rushed, but I love the cover too.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm just so incredibly excited about it. And I'm so excited. The book launch is, of course, at the Pat Conroy Literary Center, which you two know well. And I just can never thank Jonathan Hupp enough for all of his support and for being part of the Pat Conroy family by extension of being a docent there. But this writing community is so incredible here in Beaufort, and most all of us are affiliated in some way with the Pat Conroy Literary Center, and give our time, volunteer there, support them in many different ways. So I hope a lot of people will be there. Susie, will you still be here?
What day? Say that. What day?
It's June the 15th from 5 to 7. It's on Saturday.
I'm just putting it in the comments here from 5 to 7. And then Karen Dreher asked if you're taking orders. How do people order it?
Yeah, just from which one? The new one?
Everything, Donna.
The new one they can order it directly from me. Of course, I don't have it yet. We're still in final edits. But we're close. We're close now to having everything ready to go. And we have to allow a month to print because everything that possible can go wrong. With the red starfish for the hardbacks, they arrived without the dust covers on them, and they had to overnight the dust covers. And that morning of the book launch, a friend of mine, Connie Kling, and I were up there at the center putting covers on books. So printing is an experience that's not under my control at all. So you never know what's going to happen, but hopefully it'll be good.
So I have one more question, and then I will stop asking questions and just go back to behind the scenes. Donna, are you going to ever have your books on Audible? What is that process like?
Okay. I am doing the Audible for Solo in Salento, and I have to tell you, it's so I don't know what to say. It's so traumatic because they want me to do it, and it's I'm about halfway through, and if I can just y'all know the circumstances of why I had to quit some things and do some other things. But if I can just get myself through the whole book, which I'm hoping to do this summer, then I will start on the red starfish and Moringa, Tree of Life, right after that. So that's what I'm hoping to do. But so far haven't fulfilled that need, and I know so many people like Audible.
I do. I love Audible. I have a hardback book and Audible going at all times. It helps me get more read and done. And honestly, it has really taken my mind off of other stuff that's been
Yeah.
going on. So
Yeah.
it's a nice distraction. So that's always good too. Now, you said you're doing your book launch at the Pat Conroy Center. Are you going on a book tour? Are you going anywhere in North Carolina? Are you going anywhere?
I don't know. I had a book tour in Mississippi that I had to pull out of
Mhm.
for this book.
Mhm.
Um, I pretty much, because I'm traveling so much extensively in other ways, that I pretty much stay fairly close to home. I do a lot of Zoom book clubs all the way. I mean, I've done them in Scotland, I've done them in Canada, I've done them in California. So I do a lot of that. The travel it's really hard to do that, to do a nonstop book tour.
Mhm.
I'm not 25, I'm not 45, not 55, not any of those ages. So to be on the road like that, I've watched some of the other authors do
Yeah.
that, and they're exhausted. And if you can guarantee that you've got 20 or more people at each stop, but you can't do that, and if you put all, and you're paying for it yourself, unless you are a big time name like John Grisham or someone like that
Right.
has all that kind of contract, you pay for it out of your pocket.
I don't know how they do it. I mean, at such pace being one place one day and the next place the next place. And
Yeah.
I mean, I do some hosting of book parties here in my home, and I always get so nervous because I think no one's going to show up, and they always do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's really fun, and I enjoy it. So
Yeah, I would love to. And my old stomping ground is Virginia.
I know. Well, you don't have to do it in the next few months, but down the road at some point, maybe we can get you to Virginia.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a great bookstore here. My house is here. We have a couple great books. Well, we actually have 3 bookstores here in Richmond that are great. So any of them.
And that's what my friends in Mississippi were doing. They were lining up, having book discussions in homes. And the university I went to, I'm losing my voice. The university I went to is there. They were having something, the bookstores, they were planning the bookstores so that I would have something for an entire week.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that happens, then yes, it makes it worthwhile.
Okay. Well, maybe we can work on that. Well, one last question I have for you. Are you reading anything now that you would like to recommend that the rest of us read? That's really a great book.
I'm actually reading a book called The Sicilian Inheritance. And have you read it?
No, but it's at the top of my list.
Okay.
So what do you think?
Okay. Yeah. And my neighbor down the street left it on my doorstep for me. So I've just started it and I'm reading that. My 2 favorite mystery, crime and mystery authors are Louise Penny. I don't know I just love her. I've read all of Inspector Gamache's books. And the other one is it's an Italian writer, Andrea Camilleri. And he's done the Inspector Montalbano series, which does take place in Sicily. And it takes place in the part of Sicily that when I travel, that's where I stay. And so they have the Montalbano tours, and you can go see they've made a TV series out of it, so you can see the house, which is actually a bed and breakfast place. It's his house on the TV series, and it's beautiful balconies looking right on the water. And so, but those are my 2 favorite go-to. Okay. And their series are incredibly long, like 28 books or something like that. I won't live that long.
Oh, don't say that. We don't
I know that.
Well, none of us are guaranteed tomorrow. That's why we have to make today special. Right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
It has been an absolute joy to talk to you about this book. I'm so excited. We finally got you on here with Susie's Book Club. We're back. I'm excited that you spent time with us this evening. It went by way too fast.
No, thank you so much. And I hope the three of us are going to see each other on another Low Country Literary and Leisure tour. That would be fabulous, Susie.
Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you,
please.
Donna. Thank you, Donna and Francine, for tonight. I really appreciate you coming together. And if you have one quick second, I do have a commercial break. Just a couple of things about what's next in our book club. So we are back. We've had to change our format a little bit due to StreamYard and Facebook not playing in the sandbox well. So you'll be seeing this on YouTube Live or on my profile page. But I think we've had a really good audience today. So I think everybody was able to click on the right link, so to speak. And I've got Janice Fulp saying, see you on the 15th. And Cheryl says, miss you, Donna. You look fabulous. Ciao. And Estelle said, thank you, everyone. I, again, want to thank everyone and say our next featured book next month for the month of June, but you can start now, is Nancy Ritter's novel, Slack Tide. So we already have the date set up. Francine set it up for me because I wasn't able to do it myself. So thank you, Francine, for doing that. And then, so that is, okay, let me get that right. That's June. So in July.
Oh, yeah.
In July, we're bringing back none other than Cassandra King. And we will be reading one of her first novels, Same Sweet Sisters. And I think that's the right title.
Same Sweet Girls.
Same Sweet Girls.
Yeah.
Same Sweet Girls. Thank you. I realized in the back of my mind that didn't sound right. Gotta get it right. So I'm excited for that. And then we will see. Donna has someone in mind and other people have someone in mind. So we'll get that referral process going again. For those of you that are new to the book club, I have some friends that I met sailing the world that joined us tonight. Basically, I go carte blanche on what these lovely authors refer us to, and then we read their book, feature one author a month, and then have this fun chat with them the next month. And it keeps going and going. It's now on year 4. Is that right?
Yeah.
I wish. Yeah. And then last but not least, I don't have dates, but please reserve the latter part of March of 2025 for one form or another of another Low Country Literary and Leisure getaway. I can tell you one thing for sure. In January, we will feature Pat Conroy's book, Beach Music.
Yay!
It's a long one, so everyone can start whenever. And then we'll have Jonathan on in February, and all those other pieces have a lot of work to be done before I can announce everything. But just kind of pencil in the latter part of the month of March of 2025, please.
Yeah, it's done for me.
Can I say one thing?
Yes, you can.
Nancy's Ritter's book, Slack Tide, is a wonderful, wonderful read. So I hope everybody will really enjoy that. It's beautifully done. She's a great author.
She's another one that takes you right to where you need to be in the book.
Yes.
I don't want to say anything about it because I don't want to give it away. But yes, I was transported in that one too.
Good. Thank you so much, both of you. Love you.
Thank you,
Susie.
Seeing
you both.
Susie,
all right. I'm going to log us off. Thanks for joining us.
Okay.
Good night, everybody. Have a good evening.
Buonasera.
Buonasera.
Bye.
Bye.